The topic Western culture got a negative impact on youth in India. I would like to disagree, but there are a lot of changes have happened in the past generation and our current generation. Because there was a system we had to have specific rules, we had to follow that specific rules, and the generations have kept on doing that for years. But when it comes to our generation, people have changed that, break that rules on many aspects. They each have changed that aspect of bringing that entire rules to negative in individual aspects. So people in our generation have completely changed that because people started thinking on individually. They started taking decisions for themselves, having rules for themselves, not for others or for the family on that aspect. So people have changed their perspectives because of the Western culture. So yes, there are negative impacts too, but I feel like there are also so many positive impacts that the Western culture has here.
I would like to add some points on your point of view. She said, okay, there are a lot of impacts from Indian youth from the Western cultures, like the lifestyle, the way we used to live is changed with this impact of Western cultures, and the dressing and everything changed by, we are inspired by them, and I believe that.
Yeah, I can agree with the Basuma's point. Nowadays, the social media are more engaging, and the youth are watching more social medias, and they feel like the Western culture is more important for them, and it is like they wish to live like the Western cultures, and like the Indian culture is not good and bad, but the youth thinks like they want to live like the Western culture, like because in Western countries they have the more economic growth and more sustainable lifestyles, etc.
As we know that Western culture has negative impacts, but as my point, I say that traditional is better than the Western culture. We need to support traditional rather than Western culture. Western culture has brought many more changes in food and our dressing style, but the food of the tradition is more valuable. Like that, traditional food has more medicine and like that materials itself. But rather than in Western culture, it has burgers, pizza. That way, it's unhealthy for our health and may make more causes to our body. Dressing style of the traditional is very more interesting, but Western culture promotes more dressing style that is not for good looking. That's more minimum problem in different areas in Western culture. Traditional has to be. We need to support traditional rather than Western culture.
I support your point. I agree that that should be protect tradition. At the same time, accepting the positive side of another culture is also a thing. It doesn't mean that accepting another culture doesn't mean rejection of our culture. We should take only the positive of the Western culture, not the negative. And coming about the food is according to their area and according to their way of eating, they have chosen it, and it's not to take. It's our choice to take whatever the food we want to take. But it is Indian food is good than Western food, in my opinion. And food is a thing. Food is a research thing we used to eat. So we should consider of our health. So I think in food we have to choose India. So we have to take only the positive of from Western culture.
Yes, excuse me, as you mentioned the dressing styles, and who told us that they are the professional, we are not the dominant one. They made us think like that they were the dominant, they were casual, they were more dominant than other people. They made us think like there is still the thinking of the Indians that if we see a white guy or white people, we think that they are dominant than us. Why should we think that? They made us think like that only during the before independence. They conquered us, the India, and they made us think like our dressing culture is not proper. They were the dominant. We should dress like them. Who bought us the suits and the other stuff? In their country, the weather situation is like that, so they have to wear the blazers and all. Now India, the weather condition is different, so you don't have to wear the coat and such things. They made us think like that. We are in a lower class and they were the dominant because of they were white and we were brown.
Yeah, as you said that when we are we are white and issues and everything, you are saying that. Yeah, I agree that point. But in our culture, there is no about. And in the picturization also, and they used to say like that. When you read a first class and second class, you must be example, nature, making a picture of them. One is ugly picture, one is good, and they are saying that it is ugly and it is made up of that. They are made it is like that. It means it's come from Western. It is coming from Western. Therefore, that India does not have that like any difference. They are making no differentiation. So, what is it means? Indian culture is moreover much better than the Western culture, but that was previous. I said that we should take them positive. In which way? In education and women's empowerment. You see, from when the Westernist culture came to in India and it was occupying some places, it was given opportunity to the most of the women to raise their voices and make themselves freedom. Some points of we have see literally in previous women does not have like present criteria and previous criteria. Women are not like this. You observe. They are comparing to our parents and now generation.
We are slightly there is some deviation comes in the topic. As we know, there are negative and positive impacts with this Western cultures.
We're talking about the youth.
Yeah, and you.
So there's nothing wrong with it. Even in our past generation,
There are positive sides. As in the education system, they made like our education system were in a low stage. That made them some professional by bringing other ideas, scientific conversations and all. I'm not saying that there is no positive side. They were not Indian railway system. They were not in India. I'm not saying that there is no positive, but there is more negative side on them by conquering India during that day. That's what I mentioned.
For the youth, there's so many points have brought through the dresses and the discrimination and all. India had discrimination even before the Britishers with caste and even state and everything. And also for wearing dresses and traditional dresses, when we say now that the youth have changed, we dress for comfort rather than showing tradition or Western culture. People used to dress, now the youth dresses with fusion, where they choose a traditional top or a Western pants. That fusion has came because they prefer comfort. That does not mean they don't go for their looks either. People are fashionable, choosing both the side of the dressings.
Just look at over this.
Yes, I can understand that with being the professional, but we can also prefer saris and all the Western. For official matters, saris and kurtas are also considered as professional wears, but I could agree to the dressings that we have at the moment, which can also be a negative impact on not considering our traditional clothes. So you were saying something?
Yeah, that's right. The Western dressing style is based on their climate and their environmental conditions, and our culture is based on our climate conditions and like that, like shoes and sweaters, that type of clothing. That will affect some people's in Indian culture.
So like I just want to say that I have 4 points here. So like everyone has said, like we have to take the positive from both sides. So like before we had traditional like the families from before generations were actually pretty large, right? So now it's transitioning because of this westernization, globalization. It's transitioning into like nuclear families, and so in before families, like negative thing I would say is there was like especially for like women and all, like there was pressure from in-laws and like for them to act like a certain way and stuff, and they had to and like even though they don't like it, they had to adjust to like the for the women they had to adjust to like their husband's family, like what they said, like what their rules, customs and all. They had to adjust it even though they didn't like it. But now, due to the nuclear families, like they can actually like find a someone who they like, and they can set their own like how they like to live. They can set their own customs or live how they want.
Yeah, I still believe that we have that polarization in our psychology. Even when we see, as I mentioned last, when we see a white guy, we think they are dominant than us. Why should we think like that? They made us think like that in the early periods.
As we know, we are the Gen Z peoples. We need to promote both the fusion of both the cultures. The Western culture need to be more dominant in the youths, and we need to adapt as well as the traditional in the youth culture. Western culture, like we need to dress like them. That brings more attractiveness. If we look at
They told me.
if we look at a guy wearing a good shirt and pants, making inside,
Yeah,
we can
that
know
was
that
true.
he is a professional. As we know, by wearing a white shirt and he is that because of a mindset problem.
Yeah,
like
they
that.
made a
But
mindset
when we
like
see a professional guy, we think he's a good appearance, as he good appears like that we need to. But in the case of the food, Western food is bad than Western food is bad, but traditional food is we need to be improved. We need to promote more traditional foods to our culture.
So you are on the positive side, right?
Yeah.
Traditional food is not always healthy, you can say. We eat rice more than all the proteins and fiber sources. We eat rice which is carbohydrates, which is not healthy as well. Because on those days people had to work, people had to even if they have to buy something, they have to work for hours. Now that we don't have to do that, but yet we choose the exact same food styles with this lot of calories, which is not healthy either. So we cannot say that Western food is unhealthy, our food is unhealthy.
Yeah,
There are still in the variants of the food. We should not focus on little things and say they are
we should bring fusions, not adapt one culture. We need to promote fusion. That we need to support Western culture and traditional culture. As we look at Western culture, we need to bring some food from there. As we need from the traditional side, we need to bring both the fusions promote more health condition for our Gen Z kids.
But the current youth have brought the Western culture way of eating, because now people choose more protein and fiber source than how we used to eat before, which is actually something that Western people used to do.
Actually, we need to have protein, fibers and protein.
Yes, but the portion is different. We eat more rice, more carbohydrates, and less protein and fiber.
When we say we want fibers, you know what? We want fibers means like what? Vegetable, like something in food. Curries we like which are soya beans we get fiber, and proteins also like available. We used to eat meat and everything. So we are eating. That means they are all. You are like to saying that they are the food. They are maintaining all vitamins and proteins, and we are not maintaining your mention. But you see, when it comes to health and everything, according to here weather and according to here, it is the nice food. According to India and according to weather and condition, it is the correct suitable food for us. And according to their monsoon.
First I'm talking about the negative word that they did. What is my question is why can't we, but we are recognizing the fact that they are being more they are being the trendsetters. Why can't we remove that and be the trendsetters? Like we adapt our what is we have to instead of replacing them and
Yeah, again, still working on it. It's
Now-
still the process that we have that thing in our mind, that organization, psychology.
Actually, we have made trendsetters. We have been trendsetters, but the Western people have never really acknowledged it, to be honest. About when it comes to fashion, which is really actually very sad, to be honest. The Western people have never really, have never really acknowledged that there are so many fashionable trends. Even people in the previous generation used to have belts, which is completely different. I don't know the name, but that is now a trend at the moment.
Yeah, currently there are places in international by Indians. There are Sundar Pichai, who is he has the face of India.
But
Yeah, there is being working on it, but it's not completely going in our Indians.
If the economic is well maintained and the growth is very initial growth will in the economy, that will lead the Indian culture to the international level. If we focus on that more.
I don't think that the Western culture has an effect in that because Western culture promotes creativity and innovation, and that has a great influence in technology, education, and fashion. Like people are not afraid to wear in
The thing is that they need to have education, but which is not come out, which is not scriptured, like the Aryabhatta and some of the our Indians and some of the more scientists and some more is there, but we are not aware of that. That's why we are thinking that always it is the education is from the. I'm not saying that it is came from there only, but which they are by historical we see that they usually they took all this from Indians, and you see they used to tell most of the scientists they came that we used to read the scriptures of the Indian scriptures which are written in the olden days. We have read it, and by that we got this knowledge. They used to saying that we take this knowledge from ancients of Indians, and we are not aware of that, and we are making them as they are making this all this education. Yeah, yes, definitely they are implementing, but it is we are not aware of our own roots.
Yeah, we Indians started creating laws.
That's not true actually. See, we were great at that time. But the thing is, the Western people actually after during the medieval period, they actually surpassed us. So we must take the good parts. We must not glorify our past, but rather adjust to the modern world, rather than taking glorifying our past. So
Indian is same. Every individual has freedom to choose what to wear, what to eat. And we are Gen Z, we are youth, we are following international trends. And global exposure for people's culture, and we following both culture, international Western cultures and Indian cultures. That means we are not following Indian culture, Indian rules.
Existing other culture is not equal to rejecting our culture. But I think, as Mama said, as we Gen Z have started embracing our tradition, but we don't really take all those humanitarian things as well. There are boundaries. As you said, now we have nuclear family. When we had all those joint family, people used to interfere in their individual family matters just because they are elder. But now, when our generation came, we know what is right for us, we know what is wrong for us, and we are ready to speak for that. and previous generation hesitated to say because they are elders. So, Western culture had such impact on us for that as well.
You said that the our food is like the best for our country, but see actually our recently till like 100 less than 100 years ago, see even now actually most people are farmers. They were like farmers, like most agricultural society. So like for them, this our current food for them it was fit. But see, for our food for actually was actually designed for them. For their they were hardworking, like they were going in the field and doing all the plowing and stuff. But we are still eating that food now, and we are getting fat and all. Like everyone is because of that. So actually, I think we need to some parts of it actually like the sides and all are actually good, but the rice and all extra rice it's actually not needed for us. See, so we should take more, actually more meat or more meat or more protein source and reduce the rice.
Yeah, but we can
We'll adjust it.
What is the point is rice by producing? That means rice only by producing. Here, rather than rice, the other products which are we can't predict that much for people. How much we have crores of people in India, so we can't. That much give, as you said, meat and other things we can't able to meet. That's why the rice is producing. The reason it is that you produce in India rice, we can produce more. Rather than we cannot produce another product in India. That's what I think.
Yes, main source is rice. We can produce it, but the other UK, European countries, they cannot produce rice as we do.
No, it's not the
No, I'm said that reduce like the eating quantity.
Oh, you mean so?
I am mentioning that in India we cannot produce more than rice. Wheat we can produce and rice. These are two things we produce.
We have lot of
But wheat sufficient we cannot produce for all crores, 140 crores, something we have.
we have a great calculation of millets, which we can replace from rice. So what he said is actually you said that what we eat is for our climate and for Indian people. No, what he said was people on our previous generation, they were farmers. They had to they have to travel a lot by walking. They did not had facilities like we do. Right? They had lot of they were really active. So because of that, they need lot of energy. That's why they had to have that carbs, which is rice. Now in our generation, we don't need that much because we are not that active, right? So in that case, we can control that rice, and that's what he said, to control that portion.
I think you understand. You can take back some points.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with getting influenced by Aussie culture, and I think Western culture promotes gender equality more. Like being equal, male and female being equal.
I'm glad you brought up that.
See, Indians had a great law history. They have still the queen in the queen, I don't know the Elizabeth, I guess. They still the diamond that they stole from India. We had a great loss in history.
Yeah, Indian
Yeah.
peppers like that
More
more value
resources.
in Western countries. That Western peoples are more supporting Indian culture. As we look, they are supporting more Ayurvedic treatments, more Indian spices, more gems like
They just
they are-
face like that they support. They don't support at all.
Yeah,
As
as
you
you
see
say,
difference.
they don't support. We can look that they are supporting more Ayurvedic treatment. They came to India during Kartika Masam and they get more.
It would be like 30
treatments.
out of 100. They will support.
Yeah, as you say there, but at the oldest time, Indian spices was morely played to the Western culture, as they know what is their medicinal value and what is the purpose.
Yeah.
As the Western peoples know what is the value of the Indian spices, they have traded more spices to their country, as they know what to say.
Okay, so why are they trading?
It's about agreement and disagree between Western culture impacting or not?
You wanna know, that's the topic we have, whether that has affected our youth. To be honest. We usually see that our culture has no importance. Our culture has its own importance, and by adopting other culture, it doesn't bring a negative impact on our culture. It also brings many positive things.
London still has a chore bazaar in there. God, they stole from India. They still display that things on their museum.
To summarize our discussion, we explore different perspectives of this negative impact of Western cultures, and we have different perspectives regarding this negative and positive though.
So,
We are
that's
following both cultures. We are follow Western culture and Indian culture. In India, we follow both, and we go to foreign countries and we follow Western cultures and food, Western foods.
I think there is both positive and negative impact on Western culture on youth.
so we should take from both sides positive only.
Yeah.
We don't need to take
Yeah.
negative. So from Western culture we should take positive, and from India we should take positive, no negative.
As Akhunima said, we need to make a new fusion from Western culture and from the traditional culture. We need to make a new fusion, and we need to promote more ideas to the youth.
Okay, that's your time.